There's no real chance of pushing the Union Army off the high ground.
But Lee feels his men have sacrificed too much to turn back now. Lee gives the order to attack. The infantry charge is led by Major General George Pickett.
The story is Dutch Longstreet is sitting there, and Pickett says, "Shall I go, General? Shall I go?" And Longstreet just drops his head and looks away. "General, shall I go?" And Longstreet again looks away. He said, "General, I'm going into the attack." And Longstreet looked again away. Longstreet never gave the order to attack. He knew it was suicidal.
In the sweltering July heat, 12,500 Confederate soldiers, led by Pickett, make their determined march across an open field nearly a mile long. As they advance in close ranks, thousands are cut down by Union artillery and rifle fire.
There was nowhere they could hide. There was almost no range between the Union forces and the Confederate forces, and the Union forces were simply able to stand behind these reinforced positions and fire on the Confederates. And so the Confederates had no way of defending themselves.
To Pickett's men's bravery, they continued all the way up. There's one whole unit from South Carolina that marched straight into the Rhode Island artillery guns. It was destroyed by canister shot. The whole unit died instantaneously. He just tore through people, limbs, heads, eyes, blood, hair, and eyeballs everywhere.
Of the more than 12,000 Confederate soldiers who made the charge, only 5,000 survive. The Battle of Gettysburg is over.
Sun Tzu would have been horrified at the tragic waste of Pickett's charge. Sun Tzu always believed in using the intellect rather than force, and never attacking headlong an enemy force if he could do otherwise.
At Gettysburg, Lee doesn't adjust his strategy to the situations on the ground. He refuses to retreat, even when the situation is clearly hopeless.
And Lee takes off his hat, dismounts, and walks into the field and says, "It's all my fault, boys. It's all my fault." "You're damn right, General. It's all your fault. No one in his right mind would have ordered that. You should have listened to Sun Tzu."
In the end, his failure to follow Sun Tzu's wisdom is one of the factors that costs the Confederates the war. Sun Tzu says, when troops flee, are insubordinate, collapse, or are routed in battle, it is the fault of the general. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu imagines the role of the supreme general, a man who must be intelligent and cunning, never rash nor arrogant. Exactly the opposite of Sun Tzu's adversary in the Wu Chu War, Nang Hua.
Sun Tzu is deadly against impulsive behavior, rash behavior, or making your army march double quick time in order to seize victory. For in Sun Tzu's mind, victory comes from deep thinking, from detailed calculation, from long preparation.
While Nang Hua has a larger, more powerful army, Sun Tzu shows he is the master by outwitting his enemy. Nang Hua rushes to his capital, believing Sun Tzu is about to invade. But the master never had any intention of attacking such a well-protected city. It's a ruse to lure Nang Hua into a trap, and it works perfectly. Without warning, more than 20,000 of Sun Tzu's elite warriors ambush Nang Hua's forces. The surprise attack throws Nang Hua's men into confusion.
What we have now is a series of running battles between Nang Hua's much depleted forces and Sun Tzu's main force. In each battle, Nang Hua gets weaker, Sun Tzu gets stronger, and the Chu capital lays exposed.
Sun Tzu joins up with his main force and attacks the disorganized Chu army. Finally, Sun Tzu has won the war. Through preparation, deception, and indirect attacks, Sun Tzu pulls off one of the greatest upsets in history. But as mysteriously as he arrived, Sun Tzu leaves and disappears.
There's some speculation as to why he disappears. One theory is that the behavior of the leaders of Wu shock him, discourage him. When the king of Wu enters the Chu capital, he's dumbstruck by its wealth. He becomes greedy and covetous. It would seem then that Sun Tzu has provided this ambitious and potentially corrupt king with a dangerous instrument, this new military that he's honed. He also sees infighting breaking out, and perhaps this is the moment that Sun Tzu retires from this life and goes instead to write what he sees as the lessons of the conflict between Wu and Chu.
The first line of Sun Tzu's Art of War is, "War is a matter of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, survival or ruin." Sun Tzu knows that war can lead to disaster. Sometimes, the best way to win is not to fight at all. This is perhaps Sun Tzu's ultimate secret.
Nations often rush into wars with very little concern for thinking through what the total cost is going to be, not just in dollars, but also in terms of human suffering, not only to you, but to the civilians and children of the country in which you're fighting. It's the kind of thing that we find in Sun Tzu, that before you go to war, think this through, and then ask yourself: is the reasons for which you're fighting worth the total cost of the war, or is there another way?
As Sun Tzu says, the angry can be made happy again, but the dead cannot be brought back to life. Still, some historians believe the genius behind the art of war wasn't actually Sun Tzu, but a collection of different strategists. While his existence is debated, his legacy isn't. Today, the art of war is read by generals, CEOs, and professional sports coaches. And while it offers us insights into the battles of the past, it could prepare us for the wars of the future.
Sun Tzu is extremely relevant to us today because the rules that he laid down 400 BC are the same rules that we apply to warfare today, or should apply to warfare today. The recommendations for indirect warfare that we learned from Sun Tzu are the way we need to fight wars today, because there's no way we can continue to fight direct, heavy, conventional wars, because no other army is going to attack us in a conventional fashion. We're going to have to use the indirect methods of dealing with the enemy that Sun Tzu recommended, and the quicker we learn these, the more likely we're to be successful in our wars of the future.
Sun Tzu can teach us not merely to know ourselves, to know our strengths, our weaknesses, what we're capable of doing on the battlefield, but constantly reminds us that it is as important, if not more so, to cultivate a deep, fundamental understanding of our adversaries so that we might better achieve our objectives. That's what I think makes it a possession for all time.
Throughout history, Sun Tzu's principles have guided the outcome of war. We must embrace his wisdom or fight in darkness.